Good day, children. In the previous class, we saw that the narrator and his grandmother, they lived in the village and the life was different over there. But afterwards, when his parents got settled in the city, they were called to the city. So the narrator and his grandmother, they shifted to the city, and there the atmosphere, the school, everything was different. So here we'll read today Life in City. In this, when he came to the city, it was a turning point in their life. Turning point in the life of the narrator and his grandmother. Because she could not go to school with him, he went by motor bus. There were no street dogs to feed, as previously you have seen that in village, they used to feed the street dogs with the stale chapatis while returning from the school. But here there were no street dogs because she did not go with him to leave the school. He had to go by bus because the school was quite far away. And then she took another activity and she started feeding the sparrows. The whole day she used to sit with the spinning wheel, and for at least half an hour or 1 hour she used to get up from her place, and then she used to come to the courtyard. There she broke the bread into bits and she fed to the sparrows. So this was the activity that she took in the city. And then for few days, in the beginning, for few days as usual, she used to wake him up and got him ready for the school. So this she did for few days. After then what happened? As the years rolled by, so when they came to the city, slowly the years passed off. They started looking at each other for few minutes only, not for a longer time. For some time she continued to wake him up. After then, when I came back from school, she would ask me what the teacher had taught. So your parents, if you have got the grandparents or uncle, aunt or somebody at home, when you go from school to your house and in the evening time when you sit to study, that time, or your parents, when you were smaller, that time your parents must have asked you what you have been taught in the school. So this grandmother also used to ask him what he was taught in the school, because she did not know what kind of teaching was going on in the city school. So he used to tell her some of the English words, then little bit of science, and then law of gravity, Archimedes principle, and the world being round. And he said the world is round because he read that in the geography or the social science, we can say. This made her unhappy and she felt very sad because she could not help him in the lesson. She could not help him to do his work. And she did not believe in the things they taught in the English school. And she was uneducated also. That's why she was not able to tell him anything, or she was not able to understand. So she thought that English school is a worse kind of school. And it distressed her that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures, and nothing was taught about God. Previously in the village school she was taught, she heard the children being taught by the priest of the temple, that he taught them the morning prayer, the recitation of alphabets, and whatever they taught, she was able to listen and understand. But here nothing was taught about God and scriptures, so she felt very bad about the city school. One day I announced that we were being given music. So one day he told her that the music class is going to begin, and she was very much disturbed. And previously also you must have seen on the TV or any of the serials or the old pictures that music, dance, all these things were the activities of the low class people. So she was very much disturbed, and it was the monopoly of harlots and the beggars. Monopoly means mono is single. So single, it was the activity of the low caste people, low caste means harlots, they are saying, means the prostitutes and the beggars. The beggars used to sit in the one corner and they used to sing, and the people used to put the coin or whatever they wanted to give to the poor people. So it was not meant for the gentle folk. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She didn't say anything. And her silence, the narrator understood that she was feeling very bad. And she did not want him to learn that. She rarely talked to me after that. And when she was told that the music class was going to begin, then she hardly spoke to him anything. Then afterwards, he went up to university. Completing the school education, he had to go to university. So I was given a room of my own. So when he went to the higher class, when you were a small child, that time you stayed with your parents. But now when you became bigger, now you have got separate room in your house. So he was given a separate room. The common link of friendship was snapped. Whatever friendship they had in the beginning, because they lived in the same room, one room only, so little bit of conversation and a little bit of friendship was there. But when they were given separate room, the friendship also broke. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation, and she felt very bad because she was separated from him. And then she devoted all her time with her spinning wheel, and she hardly spoke to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel spinning and reciting prayer. From morning till evening, she used to sit in her spinning wheel and she used to recite prayers and do the work also. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. And in the afternoon time, she used to get up, she used to come out in the courtyard, she used to feed the sparrows. While she sat in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirrupings. And then when she used to sit and break the bread, the sparrows used to collect around her and they used to chirp loudly. Some came and perched on her legs, some sat on her leg, others on her shoulders, and some even sat on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away. She only used to smile at them and she never drove them away from her. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. And this was the happiest moment of her day, feeding the sparrows. So when I decided to go abroad for further studies, after that it was his turn to go abroad, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. Now this was the most worst thing for him, to leave the grandmother. Previously, when they shifted to the city, both of them lived together in the room. Then when he came to the university, their rooms were changed. But now he is going abroad, so he has to leave the country also. So here grandmother was very upset, and it was for 5 years he had to go out to study. And at her age, I mean she was old, so he was not able to understand whether after coming up 5 years back, he won't be able to meet his grandmother. But my grandmother could, but she was able to live. She was not even sentimental, and while he was going, she did not show any emotions. She came to leave him at the railway station, but did not talk or show any emotion. And she came to the railway station to give him leave to go abroad. Her lips moved in prayer. While she came over there, she did not speak to him anything, but she continuously said prayers. Her mind was lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. So as usual, she was holding the rosary in her one hand and she was saying the prayers. Silently she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. And then she kissed him on his forehead, saying goodbye, and little bit of moist imprint was on his forehead, and he thought that it is the last physical contact between her and the the grandmother and the narrator. So this was the city life that we have read. And now after that we'll be reading about the grandmother's life, means how did she die in the end, what happened to her when the narrator came back after 5 years.